Mr. Cashone here from the high school guidance office. I want to talk to you briefly about the SAT and ACTs. Typically during the month of February, we'd come into English 11 classes and talk to 11th graders about this. With the hybrid model we're in right now, with most people being here 2 days a week, we think it makes more sense for us to do this on a video so we're not taking up that precious class time. So SATs, ACTs, I want to talk about what are they? Do you need to take them? If so, which one should you take? How do you register? And then lastly, some other concerns about costs and test mods and things like that. So the SAT and ACT are the two major college entrance exams that if you are going to be applying to a four-year college, very, very, very likely you will need to take one of these tests. Some two-year colleges require them as well, but virtually all four-year colleges do. There are a couple exceptions, but let's just say virtually all of them do. So that should hopefully let you know if you need to take these exams. Which one should you take? Can't really tell you that. They are both different tests, different formats, both similar in time. It's about a 3.5-hour experience. Both have a written, reading, verbal section, both have a math piece. The ACT has, the math piece is a little bit smaller, so sometimes that pushes kids either towards or away from the ACT. But the ACT also includes some other areas that are not on the SAT. So I think that the best way to decide which one you should take would be to look at them. And the way that you can do that, I'm gonna just share my other screen here, is by, if you go to the ACT's main page here, and you go through the process of registering for the ACT, it will take you to a practice test. The SAT, same thing. So you're able to look at these test questions prior and get a sense of whether or not one of them feels like a better fit for you. In terms of colleges, if you want, you actually could take both. And what I'm showing you here is some admission summary info for SUNY. If you look down these two columns, this one is ACT, this one is SAT, it shows you the scores for the middle 50% of kids who were accepted in this past year. So sometimes what people will do is take both tests and see which one they tend to do better in. If they're applying to the University of Buffalo, and let's say they got a 1200 here on the SAT, but they only got a 23 composite on the ACT. Well, then it's pretty obvious. You'd submit the SAT score because you tended to do better for that one. So in terms of which test to take, I would check out the questions first. If you want to really play the game safe, you could sign up and take both and then submit whichever one you do better on. So how do you register? You do that directly through their websites. You can't register with us. You have to register directly through the websites for the College Board or the ACT. We did mail home letters to parents and guardians in January that had the links for those on there. The links are also on our website for that. They're also pretty findable through, through a Google search. If you search ACT or if you search SAT, it's most likely going to be the first one that comes up. So you register directly to the test sites. Costs are similar. It is $70 to take the ACT with the essay. The SAT is $68 with the essay. I still feel, and we still feel like, even though there's been some changes, that if it is an option to take the test with an essay, you should. It's very difficult not, knowing where you're applying to give advice outside of that. I think it's a safe bet to do that. Sometimes when students retake those tests, they will decide to take them without the essay portion of that. And I should mention, you can retake these tests multiple times. Very often kids do. These tests are offered, 6, 7, 8 times a year, depending on which one. They may not be all offered locally, but they're offered, throughout the year. Very often students will take a spring test. If they need to improve their scores based on looking at a college, they may take a fall test as well. Colleges, when looking at multiple versions of the same tests, handle things in different ways, but many colleges, not all, many colleges will give you, a composite of, if you did better on the math in the springtime and better on the verbal section in the fall, they'll give you, a combination of those two. Not all do that, but many do. So the SAT is offered here on the 8th of May. It's offered in the high school, at the high school on Saturday, May 8th. Deadline for that is April 8th. ACT is offered twice in the spring. And then, as I mentioned, there are also offerings for both of these tests in the fall. April 17th, June 12th, deadlines for that are usually 5 to 6 weeks prior. Other things that, that are questions people typically have about these, the cost. If you get a free or reduced lunch, talk to your counselor, email your counselor, we can get you a fee waiver. If there is some other financial hardship going on with your family, email your counselor. We can likely get you a fee waiver for these costs. And the same thing goes with for college entrance fees, but we'll talk to you guys about that during your spring scheduling meetings and senior reviews next year. Other piece that is necessary to know about with this is test modifications. If you currently get test modifications here, you have an IEP or 504, you get test modifications like time and a half or test read or alternate location, you need to apply directly for those modifications with whatever test you're signing up for. It's not a slam dunk like it is on the Regents exam. These are both private companies. They both evaluate what modifications you get when you apply. So it's all the more important to get the ball rolling on these prior to the deadlines, which are, as I said, are 4 to 6 weeks prior. If you have any questions on ACTs or SATs, please reach out to us in the counseling office or look at the website. We have a page for each of those, which will direct you to the test itself. Thanks.